Hello everyone, this is Damon from Edureka and I welcome you all to this tutorial video on Amazon Elastic Block Storage. But before we get started, if you guys like our video, please subscribe to the Edureka YouTube channel and hit the bell icon to never miss out on any updates. Also, if you guys are interested in our AWS certification training, do check out the link given in the description below. So without any further delay, let's get on with today's agenda. Firstly, we're going to get started with the introduction to Amazon Elastic Block Storage, which will help you understand what is and why do we need it. Secondly, we will understand about EBS volumes and its various types, followed by a hands-on demo. Thirdly, we're going to talk about why do we need an EBS snapshots and what are its benefits. We'll demonstrate this process with a hands-on demo to make it more clear to you guys. And lastly, we'll talk about Amazon EBS Data Lifecycle Manager, which will help you to schedule your backups. I'll show you guys how to schedule and create your EBS snapshot directly from the Lifecycle Manager.
In the first part, let us start by understanding what is an Amazon EBS. Now, to make it more easier and simpler for you guys, we can say your EBS is nothing but your hard disk which have a root volume. So if you guys are wondering what root volume is, root volumes are nothing but a storage in which an operating system is already present inside. So today we will be focusing on three important topics which comes under EBS. The first one is your EBS volume. Secondly, you have your Amazon EBS snapshot, and lastly, you have your Data Lifecycle Manager. I'll be discussing each one of them briefly. Now, coming to the next slide, let us understand one by one. So, the first one is Elastic Block Store Volume. When I say Elastic Block Store Volume, they are nothing but your raw unformatted block level storage that you can attach to your instances. Now, just as the name suggests, EBS volumes store the data in a block form which are suitable for databases that requires frequent reads and write. Now, these Elastic Block Store volumes are external block storage. What I meant by that is they are not directly attached storage. You can also see that an EBS volume can attach to only a single EC2 instance at a time. And as you can see in the figure, Amazon EBS volumes are attached to your EC2 instance through the AWS network like virtual private cloud. And both the EBS volume and EC2 instance must be in the same availability zone. And lastly, the EBS volume data are replicated by AWS across multiple servers, but a thing to remember is that they will be replicated only in the same availability zone, which I have said earlier. If someone asks you why do they do that, you can say that they replicate the data in order to prevent data loss resulting from any component failure that may occur. Now let's talk about the different features that we have in Amazon EBS. The first one is Amazon EBS allow you to dynamically increase capacity, tune performance, and change the type of live volumes without impacting the performance. The second feature is with Amazon EBS, you are able to create a storage volume and attach them to Amazon EC2 instances. When it's attached, you can read a file system on top of these volumes, run databases, etc. Now, the third feature is Amazon EBS volumes offer durable snapshot capabilities. If you ask how, it's because Amazon EBS volumes are placed in a specific availability zone where they are automatically replicated to protect you from the failure of a single component. Now, the fourth and the last feature is they provide a range of options that allow you to optimize storage performance. These options are divided into two major categories. One is your SSD and the other is your HDD. Right now, you don't have to worry about them. I will talk about each one of them briefly in the later part of the video. For now, let me show you guys a hands-on demo on how to create a volume to make you understand the concept better. The first thing you need to do is go to AWS Management Console, click on your EC2 instance. In the EC2 dashboard, scroll down on the Elastic Block Store and click on Volumes. Then click on Create Volumes. As you can see here, the general purpose GP2 is by default selected. In this starting demo, we will only focus on the size of your EBS volume. We can select the size depending on your workload. For this demo, I'll simply keep it as 10 gigabytes of size. And this availability zone are nothing but your data center. In this case, I've selected 1A. And this availability zone is nothing but your data center. In this case, I've selected as AP South 1B. After that, we leave everything to default, so you guys don't have to worry about them right now. Your main focus is only how to create a volume. So in order to do that, just scroll down below and click on Create Volume. as you can see here, your volume is being created and the message is prompt as volume created successfully. So we can simply click on that and you can see your volume has been created. Now heading back to the slide, we will check out Amazon EBS volume types. So there are different types of EBS volume. So the first type is your SSD, the second is your HDD or hard disk drive back volume, and third volume is your magnetic standard or magnetic standard back volumes. So let us understand each one of them. The first volume that we have is our SSD volume. They are categorized into two parts, that is your general purpose SSD and provision IOPS SSD. So this general purpose SSD provide you a balance between both pricing and performance. You can say that you get a balance in both IOPS and throughput. In general purpose SSD, your volume size is somewhere between 1 GB to 16 GB with a throughput of around 1000 megabytes per second. Later on the hands-on part, you'll see the general purpose are by default commonly used. Now coming to the second type, we have provision IOPS SSD. So the provision IOPS SSD provides the high performance for mission critical low latency or high performance throughput. So if you say what is a throughput, throughputs are nothing but your MB per second or megabytes per second, which show you how fast your data is being transferred. Now this provision IOPS SSD are somewhere between 4 GB to 64 TB of space with a throughput of around 4000 megabytes per second. Now you will get the highest IOPS in here. If you ask where the IOPS are generally used, you can say that they are generally used when you require a lot of read and write operation or transactions. So coming to the second EBS volume is your HDD or hard disk drive. They are non-bootable drive, which means you can install an operating system in this drive. They are useful if you require an extra storage like a D drive, E drive or an F drive. They are categorized into throughput, optimized HDD or ST1 and cold HDD or SC1. Both are throughput intensive. Now but ST1 is more optimized than SC1. Now looking at the first type, I've already told you guys they are non-bootable. ST1 is backed by hard disk drive and it's ideal for frequent access throughput, intense workload with large data sets. Now ST1 volumes deliver high performance in terms of throughput and they are also measured in MB per second. So the volume size of an HDD ST1 is around 125 MB to 16 GB with a maximum IOPS of 500 per volume. And the maximum throughput per volume is around 500 megabytes per second. Now coming to the second types, we have cold HDD or SC1. So SC1 is also backed by an HDD or a hard disk drive. Now like the previous type, SC1 is also non-bootable. They provide the lowest cost per gigabytes of all EBS volume types, but they are used when data is not accessed frequently. So cold HDD or SC1 is used in file servers. Now the volume size is around 125 GB to 16 TB with a maximum IOPS of 250 per volume and the maximum throughput of around 250 megabytes per second. Now coming to the third EBS volume, we have the magnetic standard. Now of all the bootable volumes, magnetic standard is the cheapest among others. The moment you select this volume, AWS will prompt a message saying it will be more preferable if you use a GP3 or a GP2 volume. Now, magnetic volumes are ideal for workload when data is accessed infrequently and application where the storage cost is more important. So if we talk about the volume size, it is around 1 GB to 1 TB of space with a maximum IOPS of 40 to 200 per volume and the maximum throughput of around 40 to 90 megabytes per second. So those were the three types of EBS volume. Now let's go back to the AWS Management Console where I'll show you guys the different types of EBS volume. Now coming back to the hands-on, you will see the different types of EBS volume, the one which we have just discussed. Now I'll show you guys how to attach a volume to your instance and what if the volumes of your instance are in the same availability zone. We'll also go ahead and show you guys how to attach a volume to multiple instances, and lastly I'll show you guys how to detach your volume. So the first part is how to attach your volume to your instance. In order to do that, go to your EC2 dashboards, click on EBS, click on volumes and select the volumes you want to attach. So in this case I'll be selecting this. Once selected, click on the top left button that says Actions. Select Attach Volume. As you can see, this volume is in AP South 1A. Simply click on that instance and click on Attach. You have to make sure your instance and volume are in the same data center or availability zone. Once that is done, you can go ahead and look at your volumes that you have just attached to your instance. Click on your instance you have attached here, so click on your demo EBS. You can go to storage and you can see there's another instance which we have just attached at 3150. So once that is done, what we want to do next is attach volume to multiple instances. So go back to your EC2 instance. So right now I'm in EC2 dashboard. Click on your instance. Click on launch instance. Once that is done, what we want to do next is attach a volume to multiple instances. So in order to do that, go to your EC2 instance, click on launch instance. Give it a name to your instance. In this case, I'll say demo EBS. Select your AMI. In this case, I'll select window. Provide a key pair. Mine is already created, so I'll simply click on this key pair. But if you want to create another key pair, you can simply click on create new key pair. Now if you scroll down below, you can see the configure storage. If you click on the drop down arrow, you will be able to see the different types of volume types from GP2 to GP3 to IO1, IO2, your HDD, that is your SC1, ST1, and the earlier version of your EBS storage, which is your magnetic standard. Now that we have seen the different types of EBS volume, scroll down and leave everything to default and click on launch instance and you're done. So we simply wait for a few minutes while your instance is being created. Once that is done, a message has been prompted a success. You can click on view all instances. As you can see here, demo EBS, and the availability zone is 1A. The instance state is still pending, so we'll wait a few minutes. You have to be patient here. As you can see now, the instance state is running. So the next thing you need to do is go back to your EBS volume. Select the volume. As you can see, that is in the availability zone 1A. So in this case, select the volume. I'll select this. You can remember the ID as FE42. We select the volume and attach it to your instance, and it can be more than 2 as well. So attach. So this one is already created, attached it. So we'll see the one which haven't. Okay, this one. The name as CCD. So simply click on action and attach volume, and you can see here your instance is 1B, and simply click on attach, and you can see one more is available, that is your 1A. Simply click on action, attach, and you can attach more than one instance. As you can see, since both of them are in the same availability zone, that is AP South 1A, and if you open this in a new tab, if you go an instance, there are two instances which are in the same availability zone, that is 1A, 1A. So go back to your volume. So as you can see, the availability zone as 1A, and click on action, click on attach volume, and you can select more than one EC2 instance. Selected that one, that, and click on attach. So the same one, I can attach it to another instance. Select that, and we'll select the second. And so you can see this is in 1B, which we don't want. We only want a 1A, since both your volume and your instance should be in the same data center. This one is available, and okay, this one will do. So simply click on attach volume, and we'll select the second, that is the one which you just created, demo EBS small, and simply attach your instance. And if you go to your instance, you'll see the instance which have been attached. So this is the one. Simply click on that, click on storage, and you can see there's a new, along with the root device and some volumes that we have attached. Now, once you're done with your EBS volumes, you can detach them. So you can do that by going to volumes. We'll select the first one, and simply click on detach volume. Yes, detach. So it's still buffering. Give it a few minutes. As you can see, it has been detached and the state is available. So if you don't require this volume anymore, simply click on delete volume. Click on yes, delete, and you can see it has been deleted. Coming to the second part of Amazon EBS, we have EBS snapshots. Now, the first questions that come is, why do we need an EBS snapshots? So EBS snapshots are similar to you taking a snapshot of your screen in your phone or PC, and the output of the snapshot will be nothing but your snap you have taken at that instance. Similarly, EBS snapshot behave in the same manner. The next question is, why do they take that screenshot or snapshot? The moment you click to take a snapshot, then all the data inside the volume will come in a snapshot. There are different things you can do with your snapshot, like store or restore data, then copy the data of your snapshot, or you can even delete those snapshots which you have taken. Now that we are clear why do we take a snapshot, let us understand what is an EBS snapshot. Now, EBS snapshots are point-in-time image or copies of your EBS volume. When I say point in time, it simply means that only the data being snapped at that instant will be taken and stored in your volume. Now, you can create up to 5,000 volume per AWS account, and you can have up to 10,000 EBS snapshot per account. Now, EBS volumes are availability zone specific, which means if your EC2 is in Mumbai, your EBS volume will also be in Mumbai. But your EBS snapshot are region specific, which means that they can either be in availability zone 1, availability zone 2, and availability zone 3, as the snapshot is in S3, which means all the 3 regions can access it. Now, which makes EBS snapshots as region specific. And lastly, have EBS snapshots are stored on S3. So let me explain this part for you guys. So the first thing you need to remember is your EBS network attached storage. They are not attached directly to your instance. So the moment you take a snapshot, the process is taken place in an EC2 instance, and your EBS volume is created somewhere in the cloud. So the moment you take a snapshot, the process is taking place in an EC2 instance, and your EBS volume is created somewhere in the cloud in the same region, and the data of the screenshot is saved in an S3 bucket. But this is not the S3 bucket because you can't access this bucket as you don't even know where this S3 bucket is being copied. Now, this is done automatically by AWS. The data being transferred will take time depending on your data size. When it's done, the status will say completed. For now, let us understand what is an incremental backup on snapshots. So let us take an example. Suppose this is our EBS volume, and you know the data inside an EBS volume is always in a block form, right? In this case, they are A, B, C, and D. Now, when you take a snapshot of this, all the data which is in EBS volume, it will give you the exact replica of that, which is your A, B, C, and D. Now, after 1 week, say you make some changes inside your EBS volume, say in block E. So your second snapshot after a week will only provide you a snapshot of the updated block, in this case, block E. Now, they won't replicate block A, B, C, and D again since the data is already saved in snapshot 1. So that block that was changed and only that snapshot is backup is called incremental backup. If you ask what is the benefit of incremental snapshots, in this case, say your first snapshot will be of 10 gigabytes, then your first snapshot will also be 10 gigabytes only. And if you make some changes in your EBS volume, then your first snapshot will only be of 10 gigabytes only. And if you made some changes in the EBS volume, your next screenshot won't be an add-on with the previous screenshot. Say if you make some slight changes like 2 GB on your second screenshot, the total will be of 12 gigabytes and not 22 gigabytes of size. Let us now check out the features in Amazon EBS snapshots. So number 1 is sharing Amazon EBS snapshot. With Amazon EBS snapshot, shareability makes it easier for you to share data with your coworkers and others in AWS community. Number 2 is creating EBS snapshot from any block storage. Using EBS Direct API, you can create EBS snapshot directly from any block storage data regardless of where it resides. Number 3 is resizing Amazon EBS volumes. If you create a new volume based on a snapshot, you can specify a larger size for the new volume. And number 4 is immediate access to Amazon EBS volume data. After a volume is created from a snapshot, there is no need for you to wait for all the data to transfer from Amazon S3 to your Amazon EBS volume before your instance is attached. And your fifth and last features of EBS snapshot is copying Amazon EBS snapshot across AWS region. What I mean by that is Amazon EBS have the ability to copy snapshot across AWS region, makes it easier to leverage multiple AWS region for geographical expansion, data center migration, and disaster recovery. So guys, let's move on to the hands-on part where I'll show you guys how to create a single snapshot, then create multiple snapshots, then how to copy a snapshot, and finally how to share your snapshot with another user in AWS. So the first you need to do is click on the EC2 dashboard and scroll down below and click on the Elastic Block Store and click on Snapshots. Click on Create Snapshots, specify your volume which you want to take a snapshot of. Then in the description part, you can write anything. So I'll simply type snap for EBS. After that, you just go ahead and click on Create Snapshots. Now that we know how to create a single snapshot, let's try to create multiple snapshots. So in order to do that, go back to Snapshots, click on Create Snapshots. Now in the resource type option, click on Instance, then specify your instance ID. In the description box, you can write anything. So in this case, I'll simply type as multiple snaps for EBS. If you want to exclude a snapshot of your root volume, click on the checkbox. You can see multiple volumes which are attached to your instance and they all will be backup. So if you want to have a same copy tag, then click on the checkbox and finally click on Create Snapshots. Now that we have learned how to create a single and multiple snapshots, let us try to make a copy of your snapshots. You can go back to your snapshots, select the snapshot you have just created and click on the button above in the left hand side of the screen which says Action. Select Copy and the snapshot which you have selected will be copied. The last part I'll show you guys is how to share and then delete your snapshots. In order to do that, click on Snapshots, click on Action and select the Modify Permission, then select on Public. So if you want to share your snapshot privately, you will have to provide an AWS account number. Now for this demo, I'll simply select on Public and hit Save. Now your snapshots are available to share with anyone in AWS. Now that we are done with that, in order to delete a snapshot, just select the snapshots you want to delete. Click on the snapshots and simply click on Actions. Click on Delete and you're done. Now moving on to the slides. The next thing that we talk about is the new service provided by Amazon EBS, which is Data Lifecycle Manager. It will make it easier for us to schedule your EBS snapshot. Let us understand why do we need to use an EBS lifecycle. You must have noticed that WhatsApp backup your data every single day at 2 AM. So if you ask why do they do that? So suppose you change your phone or your phone have been damaged or your WhatsApp crashes and you haven't scheduled your backup. So all the data that is within that device will all be lost. So what is the solution? In order to prevent these data loss, WhatsApp recognized this issue and solved it by backing up your data daily or weekly or even monthly. Similarly, EBS Data Lifecycle Manager works in the same way by backing up your snapshots. The result that came out by backing up your data, WhatsApp users are now able to retrieve those data even if they change their phone or they lose their phone or even if the WhatsApp crashes. In the same manner, EBS Lifecycle Manager backs up huge data in big corporations where data are sensitive. If we take an example, suppose our Edureka website. There may be hundreds of people enrolling for the course in AWS in a day. What if the server crashes and Edureka didn't back up the data? Then people will have lost the data and Edureka won't be able to find out which person have enrolled for the course. Now that's why backing up the data is very important for small corporation and in big corporation as well. Now with EBS Lifecycle, you can schedule and back up those data even if the server crashes, your data won't be at loss. So coming to the next slide is what is EBS Lifecycle. So the first point is with Amazon EBS Lifecycle, you can back up or schedule your data of your screenshots. And the second part is you can be sure that snapshots are cleaned up regularly. And the third point is EBS Lifecycle use CloudWatch events to monitor your policies. So how do you provision your EBS Data Lifecycle Manager? First thing you need to do is go to Lifecycle Manager, where you need to specify the target resource type. Then you have to give a description and provide an IAM role, which can be your default IAM role. Now, once that is done, you will be prompted with a configure schedule, where you have to provide a schedule details like your name, frequency, which means how many times you want your backup to restore. Now, once that is done, you have to set a time to schedule your EBS snapshot. Now, the data will be backup and retained depending upon the time you have entered in the retain period. Now, once that is done, you can check your backup in the snapshot menu on the left-hand side of the AWS Management Console. If you guys are unclear with how to provision your Data Lifecycle Manager, I'll be showing you a hands-on demo for that purpose. So heading back to the hands-on, now I'll show you how to schedule your backup. First thing you need to do is click on the Lifecycle Manager, then click on Lifecycle Policy, select the policy type. In this case, I'm selecting EBS Snapshot Policy. Now in the description, you can type backup for EBS, provide a target tag. So head back to your Lifecycle Manager, click on the key and value, scroll down to your policy schedule 1, give it a name, then select how many times you want your backup to be scheduled, then select the time you want for your backup, provide a starting time, and lastly, how many days you want the backup to retain. After all that, just simply scroll down and click on Create Policy. When that is all done, you will now be able to see your backup schedule automatically. The next thing we want to do is create AMI Lifecycle Policy. Now, in order to do that, click on Lifecycle Manager again, click on EBS Back AMI Policy, provide your key and value, set everything to default. You don't have to worry about it, and simply scroll down and hit Create Policy. As you can see, your AMI Lifecycle Policy has been created. The last thing we want to do is how to modify your policy and then delete your policy. So in order to do that, simply click on the policy you have just created and then click on Actions and click on Modify. Modify anything you wanted in that policy. It can be you change the time of your backup or the days, then simply click on Create and you're done with modifying your policy. If you want to delete your policy that you have created, select the policy, go to Action, click on Delete, and you're done. So guys, that's it for this session. I hope you understood everything from this video. We'll also be covering similar topics in the future, so stay tuned and make sure you are following our channel. So until then, happy learning.
I hope you have enjoyed listening to this video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries, and we will reply them at the earliest. Do look out for more videos in our playlist and subscribe to Edureka channel to learn more. Happy learning!